Shiraz and I have learned over the years that Richard keeps a very close watch on the agenda. He keeps close lock on the agenda. And so I've learned not to ask him to do much at the forum. If he gives me a slot to get on stage, that's wonderful. But this year, I said, Richard, there's one thing I want to do. You can give me anything to do, but this is the one thing I want to do, and it was to present this award, because this individual means a lot to me, both personally and professionally. So I'm really honored to be able to present this award. He means a lot to me because he's been a hero to me twice in my life. So when I was younger, when I was 13 or 14, I was a basketball player. And I grew up outside of New York City. And you play basketball outside of New York City, and the most important thing to you is the Big East College Basketball League. It is like La Liga, to put it in your terms. And when I was young, there was a famous game where Georgetown, which is the equivalent of Barcelona or Real Madrid, was playing an underdog team from a college called Seton Hall. And all of us were, of course, rooting for Georgetown, the sort of Goliath, to lose. And this amazing underdog team from Seton Hall won that game. And that team was led by a 6'8" power forward from Israel named Assaf Barnea, who's here with us tonight. Assaf has become a professional hero to many of us as well. He's approached his professional career with the same sense of commitment, with the same sense of being an underdog, taking on some of the biggest challenges out there. He helped start WATEC, which is the innovation arm of Mikarot, the Israel national water utility. And we all know how hard it is to innovate within the water industry. He then went on to found Kinroat Ventures, which became one of the most important incubators and investors in the Israeli market. And along with a committed band of brothers here, I'd put Harold at Terra Ventures and Noam from Greylock. They have all elevated Israel, a small country, an underdog itself, to one of the most important places in clean tech in the world. He recently was able to sell Kinroat to Hutchison Water, one of Hong Kong's most important engineering firms, in a deal that I think will signal an increasing amount of cross-border cooperation between Asia and Israel. And finally, and most importantly, every time I land in Tel Aviv, Assaf treats me like family. He takes me out to lunch, he takes me out to dinner. I'm sure he'd invite me over to stay with his family, hopefully after this speech. And it's a real pleasure to call him my good friend, and tonight we call him our innovation hero.
I guess 9 or 10 years ago, I started to attend the Cleantech Group conferences. And back at the time, I was probably one of the very few who dealt with water technologies. And I remember being pinpointed as, he's the water guy, like as if I was the only guy who dealt with water back at the time. Now, actually, back at those times, I didn't realize the fact or the endurance, or the fact that water tech investment are actually marathons. You have to go through long distances till you see a company going to the marketplace and being fully commercialized its technology. Now, as Greg did mention, being a professional athlete for quite some time, had to turn on my not giving up software, and basically to start working for those startup companies and help them, despite the difficulties and despite the ups and downs. And I guess the reasons that I did that were actually one, options or alternatives. I would say lack of options and alternatives. If not mistaken, I think it was Churchill who said at the age of 80, when he was asked how do you feel at the age of 80? I said, well, considering the alternatives. In water, you don't have any. So oil and gas you do, but in water you don't have. So that would be the first. The second, it is truly a great joy to step into the stadium once you've completed a marathon. And taking a startup company all the way, the full Monty, and finish up this marathon and bringing it to the marketplace, it is a true joy. And in that sense, I have to say this is a long, dark road. I have to give a tribute to Shiraz, Greg, Richard, for actually lighting the water industry with, seriously, with special reports, special conferences, which really put the that industry, that tough conservative industry into the spotlight. So I really thank you for doing that, and I'm very honored and grateful for this award. Thank you much.